What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, first, shout out to the WBG crew, all of y'all, the community, everybody, Dirt, Sean, Ray, and Joey, and special shout out to Paris. I know we've got our barely a back and forth, but it's all good. And honestly, I mentioned him not to like try to gain any traction. If you look at my channel, I barely got subs. It's not about that. It's about I do this because I like to do it. I'm not a grifter because I don't make any money off this channel. This channel is just like whatever. I think that's probably why I'm not getting any. I think I'm getting minus subs, but I think everybody's going through that. But anyway, my priority is not to make money off the channel. My priority is to jump through the internet and slap these ponies knock unicorns. That's what I'm doing. So I'm going to do that. But anyway, as far as Paris goes, we need people like Paris because Paris has been in the game for a minute, right? Back before Gamertag Radio, I think it was Uncle Krusty. I can't remember the name. I didn't actually listen to that podcast that he was on initially, but I did listen to him on Gamertag Radio when Danny was in Miami, and it was Danny, Paris, Pete, and then it was somebody else. I think there was a fourth member, but stuff happened. Pete moved. Anyway, but it's important to have voices like Paris out there because he is sensical. He's sane. He's not a fanboy. And the thing is like the thing that a lot of people don't realize or they don't notice or they just don't want to acknowledge is that the video game industry is kind of one big giant ball of devs, studios, companies, all that stuff, right? And they're all trying to get our money. Now, if you want to paint it green money or blue money or red money, that's whatever. They don't care as long as they get the green that is money, the money. That's what they want. And so that's why devs go here, they go there, they go different. Oh, you're a trader. You used to work for Sony and now you're an expert. That's not, they're trying to get paid and feed family and pay their mortgage and such. And that's, and people don't think about that. They think about, oh, it's a console war and da. And yes, Sega kind of started it back in the day, but that's not, it's transferred to the fandom and that's fine. It's fun to TTS. That's why, WBGS, that's why, Paris having a venue, an outlet to TTS, because he can't do that on Kind of Funny, because it's like, you got to be a certain way, and that, I respect that, and I understand that, so it's like, all right, cool. And it was funny, because Sean got him. Well, he didn't get him. He went after him. He's like, yo, man, what you guys doing with this thumbnail? What's going on here? And I was like, yeah, that's, and I didn't even listen to the show, but he was like, yeah, the show, they don't say, they didn't really, bring that up or whatever. And it's like, okay. I mean, we all know what it is. It's just, clickbait and stuff. That's part of the game. So, but it's all in fun. And that's where, the whole thing with, like Paris, I think one thing that's important that we all need to realize, and someone else mentioned it to me, outside of the internet. And they said, don't make it personal. And that's what Paris said. And it's like, yes, of course. I mean, that's the thing about video games is that it's games. It's like, why, we trying to have fun, and the console war stuff is part of the fun, part of the kind of dozens, if you will. And that's why WBG and Sean's show and Dirt show, Ray, even Plump, P-Lump. And I think Joey does another show with someone else. I caught a glimpse of it. I was like, oh, that's Joey. What the heck Joey doing? But it's all fun. And that's why they're like kind of the rising group right now. And you look at like Next Gen, or you look at, I guess, MBG, or these other fools that flipped. They're not, they have their captive audience, but I don't know if they're growing, and I don't know if they will grow because they're kind of stuck in a rut, especially because the thing that they've attached their identity and their channel to is not really doing as well as they used to be. They were on top. They were unstoppable. Right now, they're there. I mean, they haven't fallen off the cliff yet, But it's like, I don't know. There's some gravel. It's loose dirt. You better watch it. You might slip. Just saying. So and when you look at, once again, you look at the competitor, you look at the competition, and the whole rhetoric of Donkey Unicorns, the point he's trying to say, oh, Microsoft, they bowed out of the competition. They're not competition anymore. Listen, if you don't think Microsoft, Xbox isn't competition anymore, I would submit to you, go ask a PlayStation representative, CEO, whatever, finance person. Go ask them if Xbox is affecting their business, positively or negatively. And that's your answer. When you got 10 out of 15 games, or was it 7 or 6 out of 10 games on the top 10 that are Xbox games on your PlayStation list, just constantly, then and that's positive for PlayStation because they're getting that 30%. So they would be idiots if they say, yeah, we're going to no more Xbox games on PlayStation. No. They're like, free money. It's free money. Anyway, we're going to talk about we're talking about the Game Awards, the 0-19 performance that your boys did. Sony, PlayStation. PlayStation had, wait, that's not right. It was they had 19 nominations. Why does it say 8? Doesn't make sense. Anyway, yeah, that's not right. But anyway, they went 0-19. It's like, okay, they get nominated for a bunch of stuff every year. They only had 2 games nominated, and they got 19 nominations off of their 2 games. Okay. I would assume that something's got to win all those nominations. Only 2 games? It's got to win something, right? Nope. Expedition 33 decimated PlayStation. They didn't decimate Xbox because Xbox actually won 2 awards. PlayStation did not win 2 awards. They won 0. How does that make you feel? Y'all are bragging about the Game Awards, Game of the Year, blah, blah, blah. And y'all realize that if it wasn't for Xbox, it wasn't for Microsoft, if it wasn't for Game Pass, Expedition 33 might not have been as successful because, look, Microsoft gave them money. They did the things that they needed to do to make that game a success. Plus, it's sold a lot. I think it sold, I want to say 5 to 6 million. I can't remember. And that is with it being in Game Pass. So when you think about it, and the game only cost $10 million to make, and 33 people made it in 33 months with 33. I was gonna say 33. They should have had a $33 million budget. Then it would have been perfect. I hope Expedition 32 will be coming soon because I think it's counting down, right? So it has to. It started from, what was the first expedition? It was Expedition, it wasn't 100, was it? I can't remember now. But yeah, they're counting down because it's the age thing. So they have to do a sequel. Come on, son. Y'all, Sandfall, you guys, I mean, I think as creative as Expedition 33 was, and it was creative, like the story, like I haven't even gotten to the last end part of the story. I'm in Act 3. I just started Act 3. And I thought that, fighting the Paintress, spoiler, the Paintress you fight at the end of Act 2. And I beat the Paintress. I was like, yeah, I won. Now that's the game, right? Nope. It's like a whole nother 59 million out. I'm like, okay. All right. This game, because I was like already like, this is the best game ever. Listen, it was the best game. It was Game of the Year when I literally sat here and fought a boss for 5 hours. Now, you may say, oh, that's ridiculous. You didn't do that. I did. I was caught kind of in almost a infinity loop of not being able to win, but I slowly knocked this boss's. And the reason why it happened that way is because I didn't have the right crew with me, and I didn't have the right just they weren't kitted out right. Except for Mael, of course, right? So she had regenerative something and thing, but I was like, phew. And it It went on for a long, and I had to take a break around hour, I think 3. I said, okay, let me take a break. And I paused it. Luckily, you can pause it in the middle of a fight and do quick resume, and it comes right back. This the beauty of the Xbox ecosystem. You could do things like that. Now with Call of Duty, though, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 can kick rocks. But every other game, you could do some magical quick resume, and you're like, boom, back in it. Like, I'm playing Ball Pit. I haven't shut that game off. I'm still in quick resume mode. Every time I turn on bloop, bloop, I'm in the overmap, and I'm like, bing, bong, bing, bing, bing. Let me get my thing, ping, boom, ping, boom, bang. And then I go back in and do some fights. And then bing, boom, bing, bing, bing. Anyway, y'all know. If y'all play, y'all know. Anyway, the point is that all these other stuff, all these other things over there, all these other things over here, doesn't matter. What does matter is the Expedition 33 got 10 nominations, 2 winners, 13 nominations for PlayStation. I thought it was 19. I swear I thought it was 19. But anyway, and people on this whatchamacallit, this thread right here, they're just talking about Sonic. And it's like Sonic versus Mario. I'm like, I don't really care about that much. But the point is that the narratives, it's been happening all this generation, where the narratives of ponies and donkey unicorns are this, that, and the third, and then it happens, and then it flips back around on them, and PlayStation is in the same position, and then they move the goalpost. That's kind of the cycle. I've seen it over and over again, and that's just what's happening. Like, what I'm saying, like, going third party. Of course, PlayStation's been third party for years, but they don't want to admit that. But then they say, oh, it's not third party because Sony didn't publish it. Oh, oops. What's this game? What's Helldivers 2? Who published that? Oh, PlayStation. Oh, they're publishing more games and putting them on Xbox. Oh, does that make them? Oh no, it's not a first party Sad Dad walking simulator, so it doesn't count. Moving the goalposts. Look, it's a first party game. They're publishing it third party. I mean, they were third party before, but this is just the nail in the coffin of them in that argument. So whatever. They could try to argue that all they want. They can't. There's no argument there. Sony's third party. They see where the money is. They see Xbox literally draining the money out of the PlayStation community and putting it in the Microsoft bank. And they're like, how come their bank is growing faster? Because they have more games, sir. Well, why don't we make more? Because remember that guy Jim? Remember he was over? Remember Jim? Oh, the cookie guy? Yeah, the cookie guy. Oh, yeah. So what happened with Jim? Well, see, Jim, he thought it would be a smart idea to make 99 games that were kind of like Fortnite and Call of Duty and Apex, something like that. He thought that he could make 5 million games like that and then just throw them all at the wall and figure one might make it. And then her worker's like, yeah, that sounds stupid. Wait, he was the CEO? Yeah, I mean, technically, yes. But we didn't really look at him like a CEO. He was just a British guy who was just in line to, do the things that they needed to do to make it feel like he was, but he got cookies. But he's not here anymore, right? Yes, we gave him an early retirement package. And now he's a sheep farmer in Ireland. I don't know what Jim Ryan is doing, actually. But the point is, Jim, part of his idea was good. Like, oh, yeah, we should make a game like the games that are making all the money. It's like, that makes business sense. It's like, off the rip, it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Doing 12? Maybe not. I'm like, huh? Look, I'm not a smart businessman in that respect. I'm not a CEO. I'm not a CFO. I'm not a COO. I'm none of the C's. And I knew that doing 12 games, I mean, once again, it's not like they had 12 games going full steam and, no, they had these 12 pitches for games that could possibly be greenlit. That's what it was. But you know how the internet is. And what happened was we twisted what was happening into they developing 12 games when in reality it's a lot of prototyping. Oh yeah, that's whack, doesn't work. I mean, yes, they wasted money on it, but still. And I'm sure there are tens of 20s of whatever games in any given giant corporation that are under kind of not fruition, but they're being developed, or they're being looked at, prototyping and all that stuff. So it's happening. But I think the problem with PlayStation is that they didn't have the bandwidth to do that and that scale at that scale. They should have maybe three at most, and concentrate and be like 3 and have a specific. I mean, the whole dumb thing about that whole thing that happened with the live service thing is like, y'all are game veterans in this industry. You do not know. You didn't know, Naughty Dog. You didn't know that you have to support the game once it's released. If it's live, even I know this. You look at Fortnite. There's like 2,000 people working that game constantly. And you're like sitting there, oh, we didn't know that we couldn't do. And that makes no sense right there. That right there should have been a red flag. And Jim Ryan should have been like, yeah, it's a bad idea. But you know what? Jim Ryan wasn't a gamer. So he didn't know. He's a businessman. He's like, make something, make money, we sell it, boom, boom, let's go. That's it. And that's why it failed, because you have somebody in charge who doesn't know what the hell is going on, doesn't understand gamers, the gaming market, the different genres, and how we react or, kind of interface with them, if you will. That being said, one of the games that I guess was greenlit under, I think somebody said it was Sean Layden that greenlit Marathon. No, that can't be right, because they just acquired Bungie. So, yeah, no, negate that. That's wrong. But they just showed, like they had a 22-minute thing update about Marathon, right? And so I'm like, okay, and I saw it. I saw it via Luke Stevens, so he was stopping talking. But I saw the whole thing basically, and it's good to have his commentary because he has a little bit of knowledge of things. So it's all right. Anyway, I saw it, and I know Paris had said he's going to hold judgment until he gets to play the game, which makes the most sense. You play the game, then you can say, okay, it's cool, instead of just watching it. Me, I don't know if I'm going to play that game. Okay, so from the preview to now, it has improved. It looks better. So I'm like, okay, looks better. The environment looks better. The menus look, a lot of the stuff looks better. They don't have any more stolen artwork. You know what I'm saying? What's her name got paid? Totally forgot her name. She got paid, the artist, formerly known as the artist. She got paid, and they said some things that were like, oh wait, that's kind of dope. They got proximity chat. They have this decay thing, so when you die, your body stays on the battlefield, but it decays, so you can know when the body was killed. So if it was freshly killed, you know that whoever killed them is still around, and so you could be like, oh, they still here. Or if the body's like far gone, then the person's probably gone. So that's like a gameplay, an additive gameplay element that makes sense and it's kind of cool. I'm like, you know what? Dope. It's simple, but it's like, boom, that plus proximity chat plus I think there's a mode called Rook where my light just went out. Where let's see, do I know? Where that's spooky. There's another gameplay mode called Rook where the player, I'm trying to think what it was. I think they're just going in to scavenge, or I forgot what it was, but it seemed like it was a single player thing, and it's just like you go in and you scavenge some stuff and you bounce. Or I forgot what it was, but it sounded kind of cool, and it sounded like that would be suitable for a certain type of players who don't want to kind of engage in the groups or AI or all that stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm doing a horrible job of explaining that mode specifically because I heard it and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then all the information flew out of my brain just like that. So, yeah, that happened. But anyway, Marathon may not be DOA. It's still $40, which is, I'm going to say that is the one thing that could possibly hold it back from it being a bigger success than it should be, because there's a barrier to entry. It's only $40. I mean, if I wanted to play it, I would play it, but I don't really care. So I'm not going to play it because I don't care. You see? If it was free, I would try it, because what do I have to lose? Time. That's all, right? So I'm like, all right, I'll try it. Boom. And then if I like it, you got me. Then I'm buying, skins and stuff. But if it's whack and I don't like it, boom, no harm, no foul. So that's the whole thing about, free to play versus paid. And yeah, I think Arc Raiders got away with it because they were more of a smaller, little known studio. They weren't a big corporation like PlayStation who put out Concord. Let's just say that. And so that has tainted PlayStation's their reputation as far as live service games and multiplayer games have always been lackluster. Less than. They have not produced a multiplayer game outside of Gran Turismo, which it's a racing game, whatever, and MLB The Show. I think those are the only two games, which MLB The Show is, multiplat now. I mean, it was before. Now it's going on phone. So, look, they suck at that. They got Bungie. This looks okay. I'm like, okay, it looks better than it did before, so whatever. It might not be a super failure, but it still has competition. And the competition, a lot of it is free to play. And once again, just like how PlayStation fanboys or PlayStation fans or PlayStation people in the PlayStation ecosystem, gamers, won't abandon PlayStation to go Xbox or Nintendo, they're going to stay there and play the games there, right? So the people who are playing Call of Duty, the people who are getting their fix, their multiplayer fix in other games, are not going to abandon their other game and go and play Marathon. I mean, they might try it, but once again, they have to pay to try. They can't just try it. And that's the whole problem with their business model. And they feel, that's one problem I have with PlayStation, is that they feel like, oh, they're the best, so they have to, it's premium. And I'm like, look, Helldivers 2, Arc Raiders, I think got lucky. Perfect time, perfect place. And also they were pitted up against Marathon, the preview. And it was like, oh, Arc Raiders is just way better. And so I'm going to buy this instead of Marathon. And so it's perfect time. If it was like they both released on the same date and they're both $40, I don't know. I think people might, like, as what Marathon will be on launch day, I think they might. I mean, a lot more people might have not played Arc and went over to Marathon because of Bungie's name. People like Bungie. People like, oh, they made Halo, they made Destiny. This is gonna be good too, right? And there's something to be said about whatchamacallit, your past works and stuff, your reputation as a studio, as a creators. But yeah, that's a La La Land stuff where, that didn't happen, so whatever. But will it be DOA? Not totally, not like Concord, but it's still gonna have a tough fight to pull people away from wherever they are now. So, that's the thing. Once again, that price. The price is the main thing. If they do a free weekend or something, do that to get people in, and then people buy it. They have to do something. They can't just be like, yo, this is a dope game, it's worth $40, buy it, fool. That's not going. It's like, I'm playing Ball Pit. I don't know what I'm playing Ball Pit on Game Pass. That's what I'm playing, not Marathon. Sorry. So whatever. But that was interesting. But anyway, I appreciate you sharing, like and subscribe. Hit me in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the Marathon re-reveal, the 22-minute blah blah blah. Let me know what y'all think about it. It looks alright. Looks like a game. And let me know about the feeling that you have as far as the aftermath of the Game Awards. Like, okay, PlayStation didn't win anything. Xbox One more than PlayStation. How does that like make the donkey unicorns and the ponies look? Even though it doesn't matter, it's just whatever. But what do you think Sony's kind of thinking? Do you think that they are holding in their hearts or as important as they used to the notion of winning awards, or with Hiroki Totoki in tow, the boss, do you think it's all about money? I think it's all about money. I think he's sitting there like, I don't care about awards. Show me the banks. Show me the bank. Show me the checksums. Show me how much money we made today. That's what he's talking about. So awards are schmords. He doesn't. Now I do understand that if you get nominated, you can use that for marketing and perhaps garnish more sales from that type of thing. You're like, oh, Game of the Year award winner, blah blah blah, and then you put that on the game, have the Game of the Year version and all that stuff. I understand that, but honestly, that's not it. That's like just extra credit. You know what I'm saying? If you don't initially blow it up and out the gate making that money and being a success and being the Gautier, then your game's whack or whatever, But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. And once again, I appreciate y'all guys. WBG, Purse, Plump, all of y'all. I appreciate y'all. Everybody, Adidas, 20-0, all y'all. The person who gave me the freaking the membership, I appreciate that much. I'm gonna dig up your name. I'm gonna give you a shout out for real. And yeah, we just got to keep it going. I like the feeling, like when I sit back, I kick up my feet and I watch WBG. I watch Dirt's podcast. I watch Sean's podcast, and they just y'all are cracking back and forth, and it's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I mean, last thing, but I don't know if they realize how much that they affect kind of everybody's lives, like everyday lives. I mean, they do it because they love it, and I do it too, but it's like, somebody might be having a bad day or whatever. They pop on WBG, they pop on Sean, they pop on Dirt, they pop on Ray, they pop on Joey, and the chat is really the chat. I'm gonna be real. The chat is even in like even in Alex's streams, the chat is ridiculous. I mean, they're a little bit raw over there, a little more raw. But WBG chat, they cracking jokes, all the dark jokes, the Sean with the AI Joey stuff. It's just ridiculous, and it's hilarious, and that's what we need. We need to keep that. We need to keep that laughter, keep that joy. Stop. Look, console wars, the TTS part, that's fun too, but you know what I'm saying? It's just kicking it with your homies, for lack of a better phraseology, I guess. Anyway, I appreciate, and I'll talk to y'all on the next one. Till to wait.